I just want to thank, first of all, In Defense of Christians and the 21st Century Wilberforce Initiative and others who have really led the way on this campaign. When I first went to Iraq in 2007, when I was elected president of the International Association of Genocide Scholars, it was to Kurdistan, to a place where the U.S. had still not recognized the genocide against the Kurdish people by Saddam Hussein. A genocide that included gassing of people in Halabja and many other places. Probably at least 100,000 people were murdered in that genocide. So the word genocide is nothing new in Iraq. So why does the word matter? Why does the G word matter? Why not simply call ISIS crimes against Christians and others crimes against humanity? After all, genocide is a crime against humanity. It's just the worst one, because the attempt to wipe out an entire people group actually impoverishes all of humanity. And that's why Raphael Lemkin invented this new word, genocide, which means the killing of a nation or a people. The reason the words matter is that genocide is much more powerful than crimes against humanity, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, or these ill-defined terms like, quote, atrocity crimes. These don't even have any legal definition in international law. Ethnic cleansing doesn't exist in international law, nor does atrocity crimes. Whereas genocide is actually in a convention. And so are crimes against humanity, of course, in the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Well, the reason why the word genocide matters is because words matter. People act according to words. In 2007, 3 epidemiologists and I counted the number of times the words genocide and ethnic cleansing were used in the New York Times, law journals, UN press releases, and statements by Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch to describe 4 recent genocides: Bosnia, Rwanda, Kosovo, and Darfur. And we discovered that as long as ethnic cleansing was used to describe these situations, there was no forceful action to stop them. As soon as the situations were called genocide, forceful action resulted and ended the killing, except in one case, in Darfur, where a UN Commission of Inquiry rejected the genocide word, the G word, especially to counter the finding of a Commission of Inquiry of the United States government, which did define that, what was happening in Darfur as genocide. That's a really good example of how much it matters. Now, genocide is defined in the Genocide Convention as, and I just quote, because let's get it straight here, any of the following acts committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group as such: killing members of the group, causing bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction, in whole or in part, preventing births within the group, and forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. I mean, what Reverend has described to us as taking away babies is genocide. It's direct. It's genocide. Now, what do you have to do to prove genocide? First, you have to prove intent. You have to prove intent to destroy the group in whole or in part. And frequently, the in part is forgotten. You know, many people who talk about genocides think that the only model for it is the Holocaust or Rwanda or the Armenian genocide, where the objective was to destroy everybody. Well, the attempt to destroy a part of a group is enough. And how do you prove intent? There are 2 ways. You can either prove it through direct statements of leaders of the group, you very seldom get them, by the way. You know, Hitler never said, well, we're going to wipe out all the Jews, unless you read way back into Mein Kampf. Once Winston Churchill was asked, why is it that you seem to understand, Hitler and the Nazis, whereas Chamberlain and the others didn't? And he said, well, I read Mein Kampf and I really took him seriously. I figured he would actually do what he said he was going to do. Well, we should take seriously what ISIS is saying it is going to do. The other way to prove intent is you can infer the intent from a systematic pattern of acts that demonstrate a policy or a plan to destroy a group. And that is the main way that genocide is that the intent to commit genocide is proven in courts, and that we can infer also from the acts of ISIS. The second thing you have to prove is simply the commission of the acts that are listed in the definition of genocide. And every single one of these acts that is listed has been committed by ISIS against Yazidis, Christians, Sabea Mandaeans, against Shia Muslims, and against other religious minorities in Iraq and Syria. ISIS has targeted all of these groups. So these are strong proof of ISIS's intent to destroy in whole or in part these religious and ethnic groups. They have openly declared their intent to kill every Yazidi male and to enslave every Yazidi female because they think that the Yazidis are devil worshippers. You know, they're outside the pale of even humanity. But they also have said that Christians, unless they will convert, should either pay a tax, that is a Yazidi tax, or convert to Islam and if they won't, they'll be slaughtered. Well, unfortunately, a recent report by the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum concluded that this jizya tax meant that there wasn't the intent to kill everybody who was Christian. Well, the problem with that is the jizya tax for ISIS is a lie. It's an ISIS lie, because they have set the tax so high that very few people can pay it. So, what happens? They can't pay it, and so they refuse to convert, to renounce Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, and they refuse, and they are either beheaded or, and this is the favorite punishment for Christians, they are crucified. And we have lots of photos of crucifixions. I hesitate to ask you to look at them, but they're on our website. We've got a warning, if you're not really ready to watch these, don't watch them. Now, we have one huge advantage here. Genocide doesn't legally require forceful response, but morally it certainly does. And that's why Raphael Lemkin invented the new word. What we have proven through our studies as scholars on genocide is that the words crimes against humanity or ethnic cleansing have never compelled forceful action to this day. Whereas the word genocide not only demands, but propels forceful action to stop it. I would leave you with this thought, and this is why I think it's so important that the State Department and the President should determine that Christians, Shia Muslims, and other groups, other than Yazidis as well, and Yazidis certainly are victims of genocide as well, are targets of genocide. First of all, the word genocide more strongly justifies our broad coalition military support for Kurdish and Iraqi forces to defeat ISIS. It also justifies arming and training militias of the targeted groups for self-defense, which is always the best defense against genocide. Just ask the Israelis. The second reason is members of such groups are much more likely to receive preferential treatment as bona fide refugees. Under the UN Convention and Protocols on the Status of Refugees, to which the U.S. is a state party, and under the refugee laws of the United States, because it gives Christians and others who are being targeted for genocide the rebuttable presumption that they have a well-founded fear of persecution based on their religious or their ethnic identity. Thank you very much.